Russian translation in the first half of the 19th century. The 19th century began with the golden age of Russian poetry. For translation, it was the period of creation, famous for translated masterpieces. The beginning of the century emphasized the difference between the prose and poetry translation. One of the most prominent figures of the 19th century Russian culture was Vasily Zhukovsky, celebrated for several adaptations and translations that are major poems in their own right, including versions of the English poet Thomas Gray's An Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard, 1802 and 1839, Homer's Odyssey, completed in 1847, Lord Byron's The Prisoner of Chillon, 1822, fairy tales by Charles Perrault and the Grimm brothers. His Svetlana was a reworking of the German poet Gottfried August Berner's Lenore. Pushkin referred to Zhukovsky as the genius of translation. Zhukovsky's literary development is a transition from one aesthetic system to another, from classicism through sentimentalism to romanticism. He began as a classicist. The motive of his first creative period was expressed by his words. The most pleasant translation is, of course, the best. To achieve harmony, the poet might sacrifice accuracy of translation. According to Zhukovsky, a prose translator only imitates the author and transforms the text into a creation of his own imagination. Hence, he considered it possible to use the following methods of translation: adapting to the content of Russian readers, making him or her feel as if characters were Russian and lived in Russia. For example, Lyudmila. Translating prose by verse for better melody and harmony. Undina. Ignoring the meter and stanza of the source text. An Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard by Gray, and free rendering, for example, Суд в подземелье, an underground trial. The next part of Zhukovsky's creative work is connected with sentimentalism. As a sentimentalist, he transformed the source text as far as he understood and felt it according to his personal taste and experience. He emphasized his belief that poetry should be an expression of feeling. An author's ideas and themes were filtered through the translator's soul and reflected in a new way, making quite a new work of art. Belinsky, assessing Zhukovsky's translation, remarked that some parts of his translations seem to have been copied directly from the poet's life. Therefore, his translations were far from being perfect, but they were excellent as his own literary works. In his translation, Zhukovsky revealed his mood, which was the defining characteristic feature of sentimentalism. Later, as a romantic poet, he paid more attention to reflecting the individual form and content of the source text in translation, emphasizing romantic conceptions of landscape and folk ballads. He retranslated some poems and ballads because the former style did not suit him. Gnedich was another translator who stood for subordinating a translator to the author, for accomplishing the most accurate translation close to the source